now. So welcome. I want to introduce everybody to one of my good friends, David. He is one of my former training partners, and he is one of the big inspirations in my life because I just watch his journey and he inspires me because I know that he has hurdles that he just freaking jumps over and clears all the time. And so I'm like, if anybody could inspire people to plug on through and to get help if they need help, it would be you. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you doing this with me so that we could reach out to people and just try to bust down some stigma that's out there. So
It
thank you.
was, there was no hesitation with me. You know I would drop everything for you and Big John. And plus, with it being mental health month in May, September is Suicide Awareness Month. So all these months mean a lot to me, and people just don't understand that it's just not in the celebrity world.
Yeah.
We all battle through it, but people don't just care because we're not a celebrity. We're not people just don't want to look into it or educate themselves, and it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And I get so sick of what people say and just the insensitivity. So I know that if anybody could help break down some of that, it would be a fellow fighter. So I'm just grateful that you're here with me. So thank you.
I'm glad I could do this.
So
Definitely got me out of camp. I definitely did not want to work out tonight.
well, I'm sorry for your workout because I know how important your workouts are to you.
All right now.
So let's start out with do you mind sharing your diagnosis?
Yeah, I've been told that my depression started coming around the age of 12, 13, but I never really paid attention to it because I really didn't know what it was.
Mhm.
But let's go back to where I was adopted at, I forget how old I was. And I've always suffered with abandonment issues. People don't want me. But my dad made it his goal to always be in my life from start to finish. Every baby picture I have, he's always in. Every baby video I have, he's always in. He's been my coach for literally every sport. But yeah, I still can't answer where the depression came from. And it really didn't hit me harder till I was about 8, 18, 19.
Mhm.
I got out of a very toxic, I'm not gonna say very toxic. I'm just saying I got out of a bad relationship, and last 6 months of that relationship, I just spun out, and it just got bad, bad, bad to the point where I ended up in the emergency room because I wanted to commit suicide.
Oh my gosh.
I still have that bracelet in my room till this day as a constant reminder of what that day meant.
Wow. So that was it the relationship itself or was it like a buildup of all kinds of different things that were happening for you?
I blame the relationship, but in all fairness, the person that I was with did nothing wrong. I just used them as the blame, just like
Okay.
when I got divorced this past year, I blamed my ex-wife for everything when really it was just me. She just didn't know how to handle a person that battles severe depression, and she just refused to not refuse. She just didn't want to educate herself. So I got it. I get it. It got
Yeah.
to the point where it was she just wanted out, and I don't blame her. We're
Mm.
still friends to this day because I'm still praying for her, but she still talks to me, and we're still civil. We don't hate each other, but she does educate herself a little bit more. And she makes me do a therapy session with her at least once a week, 30 minutes. That's it.
Okay. So you encourage her to get some help too.
Yeah, because she really didn't pay attention to suicide or depression, mental illness until the lead singer, Linkin Park, committed suicide. And she made a comment, and it just triggered me. Like, we had one of the biggest fights we've ever had. And she really didn't understand why I was so mad. But then I explained it to her, and then she really saw from my point of view
Mhm.
why I got mad. And then she really started to educate herself. But by the time she got enough knowledge of it, it was too late to save our marriage. I let my job ruin us. I would come home, just take my day out on her off a little question. And yeah, it just got bad.
Okay. So obviously depression has had a big impact on your relationships and even your jobs. Are you currently working?
Yeah, I'm working at a body shop now, and I'm kind of in out of a relationship now. That's a for people that I'm an open book when it comes to my battle with depression, addiction, and I just became open about the current situation I'm currently in. It's not the easiest to talk about because I blame myself for what happened, even though everyone keeps telling me I had nothing to do with it. But at the end of the day, I kicked my ex fiance, or I won't even say ex. I'll just say I kicked my partner out of the house, and something happened, and she's paying the consequences. But I live with it because at the end of the day, someone did lose a life that night, and I blame myself for that. I should have just fought with her in my room like I always did. But instead, I just kicked her out.
But she's still around and you guys still talk.
We talk as much as people don't want us to because of the whole it came with an opiate addiction with her too.
Mhm.
And I've been in and out with her for a year. I've been with her when she's overdosed. I've sat with her in the hospital. Um, I sat with her in the hospital when she's overdosed, and I've sat with her when her cancer medication took her out. Sat with her when she slid her wrist. So it just made my depression this past year just go from like 0 to 1,000. Like I'm like, all right, God, when I ask you if there's any more challenges, you don't have to listen to me. So I
Yeah.
just get hit left and right.
Yeah. Okay. So coming back around to addiction, when did you mentioned that you had suffered with addiction also and right alongside of depression. When did that surface for you?
I started drinking. Like I would have occasional drinks from the age of 16 to about 18. But then when I really started turning 18, 19, the drinking got heavier, and it would get to the point where I would go to class. I'd wake up for my 8 a.m. class, grab 2 beers on the way to class, drink them, go to class, get out of class, drink again. And I don't know if you ever noticed, but there were times it's either you were super, super nice to me or you just didn't want to have an argument. But there were times where I would come to the gym reeking like a bottle,
Hmm.
but I would still do the workout. And no one would ever tell I was drunk. Oh, I was completely loaded. And then I would go home after the gym and I would just drink it more. And I do it every day. And there were so many times where I should have been busted for a DUI. I've never done it except by my dad, which I'd rather have been busted by a cop than my dad. And there were times where I've woken up at home and I don't remember how I got home.
So what was your rock bottom for you on the drinking?
My dad basically saying he gave up on me. So I noticed that I was drinking a lot, and I ended up going to AA a little bit. But then I made the conscious decision when I met my ex-wife was move out of Red Bluff because I knew if I stayed, I would die of alcohol poisoning.
Mhm.
Because I was at the bar more times than I should have. And
Yeah.
and I don't like being out.
Yeah.
Like if you see me now, I'm either at jiu-jitsu or I'm at home or at work. Other than that, I'm not hard to find.
Smart.
And
So
plus jiu-jitsu here just really saved me.
how long have you been sober?
Going on this August will be 9.5 years since I've had a drink.
Congratulations. That is incredible.
Thank you. As soon as I got sober, my dad got sober, and yeah, that was kind of the real pushing point not to get loaded anymore.
Good.
If I'm gonna get fat, I want to get fat off of food, not of booze. Like there was a point where I was 215 just off of
Mhm.
alcohol,
Wow.
and the fact
I
that
know
just sitting up, I was breathing hard is not fun.
because you and I were close to the same weight. That's why you're one of my favorite training partners. And
You were
I
the
want
only
to
person that hit me and actually made me just go, yeah, that wasn't fun. Just get it to the ground. And I get hit all the time now.
now you're used to it. I've made you to where it doesn't bug you anymore. Then
Oh,
good.
I took a nasty head kick, and I was like, nope, nope, jiu-jitsu only.
So are you taking do you see a doctor or do you see any therapists or do you have anything that helps with the depression?
I do therapy twice a week, and
Okay.
I'm also in anger management because some people may say I have a temper, but I don't necessarily see it. But my ex-wife would strongly beg a differ.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm in therapy. I do it twice a week over FaceTime, and it helps a lot. But the past 3 months, with everything going on with the partner being an addict to what happened now, it's I've just been trying to avoid therapy because it's this is just stuff I don't want to talk about because it's not easy, and I'm always afraid that people are going to judge me for sticking around or call me an idiot. Like I just don't. I've been avoiding it for a while, but I'm back in therapy now. We're really hashing everything out.
Good. Good. I'm glad to hear that because you got to stick with it. You even if there's things that you don't feel like you want to talk about because you're worried about being judged. Therapists don't
Oh,
judge you. They don't have time to judge you. They hear so much stuff that like
oh, I tell my therapist I'm gonna make you regret the career path when you're done listening to me talk.
and I'll bet your therapist's favorite.
Oh,
Like
like
can't wait to see.
after the last session we had, I'm surprised she just didn't go. I quit.
So I want to ask you a question. Why, David, why do you think it takes so long for people to get help when they start having symptoms of either mental illness or addiction? Why do you think like
because
most people?
because it's not easy. It's not easy to talk. Because if it was easy to talk to people, we wouldn't have the suicide rate wouldn't be so high for teens or adults or even children. Like just a couple months ago, some 11-year-old committed suicide on Zoom and in front of all his classmates, and they chalked it up to COVID. I'm like, no, that's not COVID. That kid was battling mental illness,
Yeah,
and
sad.
all it takes is for one person just to reach out and just say, "Hey, are you all right?" And this is coming from a person that if you ask me how I'm doing, I'll lie right to your face.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of people that just won't let me lie, and I have to admit that I'm not okay. I'm
Mhm.
sad. I'm not happy. I'm miserable. I wake up every day hating life that I woke up, and that's not something to like feel bad about. But that's literally what I go through on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that sometimes I do wake up, sometimes, and then I have to force myself to go through it. But I do it because I know I have to.
So you just touched on it. You just mentioned that you have jujitsu and that saved your life. Share about that with us.
I originally, after I moved out of Red Bluff, I didn't train for like 6 years after I moved out of Red Bluff, and then I went to Bakersfield, Denver, and that's when I didn't train for 6 years. We moved to Arizona. I started training with Gracie Baja, and it just wasn't they just the way they ran their business and their school. It just made me want to just jiu-jitsu forever because I just did not like it. I just did not like it and have fun. And then a good friend of mine, told me about this guy named Jay Page, and I'm like, who is it? Like, so I did my research on him, and I just saw that he's one of the biggest names in Arizona. So I went over to meet with him. I did his 2 week trial. I got sick and I had to miss a week, and I came back, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Where were you?" And I was like, "All right, I'm in then. I'm in. I'm sticking with this." Because no other teacher is gonna notice that you're gone.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, there's times where I'll take a week off, I'll take 2 weeks off, I'll take a month off, and he'll pester me until I come back. And everything about him, I've been a blue belt under him for 3.5, almost 4 years now, and I keep avoiding promotions so I can keep being that blue belt that I got from him until I feel like I earned that purple belt. But just being with Jay, it's like a family. It's not a team. We have people from all different countries that come train with us. We just had our Globetrotter camp. It was an international thing, and unfortunately, due to COVID, we couldn't all go. But yeah, there's nothing I wouldn't do for that. Man is the reason why I'm still trying to fight this evil addiction and depression.
I love that. And I gotta say, not that I'm a Facebook stalker, but kind of sort of. So when I'm checking out your posts, I love when you're reaching out like, man, I've had such a bad day or this or that is going on. I love to see all your teammates in your posts like, hey man, I'm here for you. You want to do something? Let's talk. You got this. You have so much positive support and it just warms my heart that you have people like that in your life that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how it's supposed to be. And I see you do that for other people also.
And
I
that's
see
just
you reach
Facebook.
out.
If I were to open my phone and show you all the messages I get, that's a different. Like, there's a difference between being a friend and being an acquaintance. And I don't got friends, I don't got acquaintances, I got family, and
Yeah.
on Facebook shows it.
Yes.
Even that blood doesn't make it, just because you're blood related doesn't mean you're family.
That's right.
And I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah. So I love seeing how you support others, and I love seeing how other people support you. And I'm so happy that you have that, because like you're saying, if people would just check on each other, like we could stop a lot of suicides from happening, right? If people just
Exactly.
ask that question.
The hardest thing for a person that like me is you could be so close to somebody, but yet feel so far away. And when that happens, there's no telling what they're capable of. You don't know if they're just gonna go drive into a tree, jump off a roof, or whatever. But if any of my friends, perfect example, I had a friend who we talk on a daily basis, and then he just went silent on me for 3 weeks, and I thought it was weird. So, and I didn't know where I knew he lived in Prescott. I had no idea how to get a hold of him. So I just kept texting him every day, just letting him know, dude, I'm here. I love you. Just know you're gonna be fine, whatever happens. And then he reached out back, and then I finally heard from him like 3 weeks later, and he was in detox, and that like I'm not surprised because we've had several discussions about his addiction, but I was just happy to know that he finally reached out and just said, you know what, I'm good. What can I, how can, or, so I asked him, how can I help you? And he said, find me meetings.
Mm.
So just to show, like, I don't go to AA as much anymore because I don't have that bug, but just for him, I went every day. I went every time I went with him just to be there.
That's
Like, dude, I
awesome.
don't need AA, but you do, but you need the support.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here with you. You know, I don't feel like the meetings I don't really need them, but if he needs them, then I need them.
Yeah. So, what kind of advice would you give to young people? Because I know that you started developing symptoms when you were young, and you also started drinking when you were young. I mean, what would you tell people, you know, that are young, that are, starting to either experience symptoms or starting to think about drinking or using?
It's okay to ask for help. And that's the hardest thing that I ever had to do. That's why I had so many suicide attempts. Like my parents only know of one, the one that they took me to. But if you ask my ex-wife, she has she can tell you many nights where she's come home and was afraid what she was going to walk into.
Yeah.
But it's okay to not be okay. But it's not okay not to say anything. Like Jay once said to me, I'd rather listen to you talk than attend your funeral. And that stuck out
Yeah.
because we're bearing way too many kids, and people just don't understand that this isn't just a pandemic during this time. This has been going on for the last God knows how many years.
Yep.
Every 30 seconds, there's someone that commits suicide, whether it's a child, a teenager, or an adult,
Yeah.
not just who you hear about in the news.
So one thing that you said that sticks with me is that you were texting your friend every single day. And I love that. It's like you didn't give up. You weren't like, oh, well, he doesn't want to talk to me. Well, forget him. You stuck in there like a dog with a bone. Like you were shaking that bone until you
Oh,
got something out of it, right? Until he got back to you.
I've
And you,
left him. I left him about 35 voicemails. I never gave up because I knew he would eventually come back. I
yes,
kind of knew why he kind of vanished. I just didn't want to accept it that I knew we were gonna have this talk again. But once he did, and I know now he's back on the right path and going through AA and therapy. I'm not gonna say I hope. I'm just I pray that this was our last conversation we had. Because the next conversation could be death. People don't
yeah,
understand that.
that's right.
Addiction could kill you,
Yep,
whether it's drugs or booze. Either way, you just gotta be careful with what door you want to knock on.
that's right. That's absolutely right. And one thing I don't think kids realize today is when they try things like crank or heroin or different things that are out there, they don't know what's in it because fentanyl is almost in everything, and you can overdose on your first attempt. So
Exactly.
just don't even go there. I mean, it's
So,
scary.
so that brings up the current situation I'm in, my partner is an addict. She had breast cancer 6 years ago, and she got hooked on a lot of things. So me and her talked for about a year, but then somewhere between the first 6 months, we kind of stopped talking because I was just still going through my divorce and wasn't ready to really get into a relationship. And then she came back this past November, and I'll tell you, I didn't know the person I was talking to,
Yeah.
like, and I didn't know anything about it. And then I picked her up one night, and something just didn't seem right. And she just told me she was taking Xanax, and I've taken every antidepressant you can think of. Xanax doesn't make you nod off. Xanax doesn't just make you look like you're on heroin.
Yeah.
So then I dropped her off, and I talked to her sister, and her sister just kind of gave me the inside scoop of what I've been not told. So there was a time where she gave me one of her pills, and I gave it to one of my cop buddies and said, "Hey, can you test this and just tell me what it is?" Yeah, wasn't Xanax. I can tell you that. It was something with fentanyl in it. I was like, dude, that's like, and I keep telling, we would have this fight all the time. I was like, you know how lucky you are you're not overdosing on this
Yeah.
or even dying?
Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah, like I've dealt with alcoholics, I've dealt with semi drug abusers, but not like this where I've had to with her at the hospital for 3 different occasions because she overdosed on her medications when it was really what she was taking. I'm not stupid.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm glad that you're back in talking to your therapist, even though, you feel like he's gonna or she's gonna be after you for, having this relationship that, that not everybody is very supportive of, right?
Nobody.
But it's good that you're talking to someone about it because, love is love. And sometimes we'll be in love with someone and it can be like a rough road. And
Yeah, I just didn't think it was gonna be like this bad of a bumpy road, but
yeah,
she's given me every reason to leave, but for some reason I just can't.
yeah, yep. Sometimes love is the last addiction too. You know, so-
Ain't
but
that the
I
truth?
wish you all the luck in that.
I'm
So
trying.
I have a question for you. What, David, is it that keeps you going? I mean, I know that you have an uphill battle sometimes, and I've seen you compete in tournaments and I've seen you go through things. What keeps you, what drives you towards your goals? Because a lot of people would just give up and go, you know what? I don't need anything extra in my life that's going to be extra work, or I'm going to have to diet or do this or that. But I see you just like plug along and you like, you smash your goals. And I'm always so proud when I see that. But I wonder how you do that because it's hard enough for people who don't struggle with depression to compete in something like that.
It's really everyone that supports me because I one of my one of my worst habits that I've always had is I always put others before myself.
Mhm.
I always make sure everyone around me is taken care of before I'm even thinking about myself.
Yeah.
So I always like when I compete, I've never placed in a tournament. Jiu-jitsu tournament, I placed once. That was it. I've always got first round eliminations. The joke is, Jay's wife has the most participation trophies. I have the most first round eliminations. I'm not afraid to admit it. But when I compete, I'm gonna make sure if you're gonna beat me, I'm gonna make sure you're gonna earn that win. So if I'm just gonna wrestle you because I know I'm not gonna be able to submit you. But everyone around me that keeps telling me to do it is what keeps me going. And as much as my partner is a pain at times and causes me so much headache, she always reminds me that I have to go out there and do and show people what my passion is.
That's right.
And even if she's there with me and she's not fully there, she still reminds me that I have one job to do, and that's just to go out there and do what I have to do. That's jujitsu and that's wrestling. Even if I lose, she makes me feel like I won. Now, if we're talking about my listening skills on the mat, that's totally different. Having Jay in your corner, he's the best thing that's ever happened to me. But man, when he's yelling at you, like there was a time where he's like, turn, turn, turn. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go this way. As soon as I start hearing, he goes, wrong way. I was like, nope, gonna go the other way. But he's always surprised at just how much I like how much I do it. And he made a comment that says he wishes I could be more technical. So for the last 3 months, I've literally just been the most technical person. I don't do any of my flashy stuff, my donkey guard, whatever you want to call it. I've been literally submitting people in the gym just by the basic uh, fundamentals. And I took what he said not as criticism, but as a challenge. I'm like, all right, 1 month I'm gonna focus on one submission. That's it. The next month, same things, different submission. This month, different submission. And I've done it. I mean, I have no really desire to cut weight again. He
I don't
because
blame
the
you.
last tournament I did 3 tournaments back to back, 2 jiu-jitsu, 1 wrestling, and I cut like 32 pounds in less than 3 weeks.
Brutal. Dangerous.
Oh yeah, I learned that the hard way.
Dangerous.
I learned that the hard way. And 'cause the goal was for us to get to 45. When everyone saw me when I got to 56, they're like, dude, you look like you're knocking on death's door. Why are you doing this? Like, you guys told me to. But it was a clear eye opener for everybody just how quickly I could. If you tell me to do something, I'll do it, even if you're gonna
When you
fat
put your
shame
mind
me.
to something, there's no stopping you. That's one of
Oh,
the
I
best things
was
about you.
I was not a joy to be around. I think my calorie intake was like less than 600,
Oh my gosh.
and I was drinking
Please don't
water
do that
and
again. Please don't
oh
do that again.
yeah, I did water like so much water, so much diuretics, and I've never missed weight. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna show you guys what happens when I really get down.
Okay, so here's my last question, and this is the biggie. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. Normally, when someone asks me that type of question, I just say I can't predict because I'm not willing to bet. I'm not willing to bet the house that I'll be here within the next 6 months.
Okay.
But 5 years, I would love to still doing what I do in jiu-jitsu, but hopefully working for Jay and being able to help people because like what's funny is I always say I'll never want to teach somebody, but I have my friend right now, Brittany, who's getting ready for a tournament, and I've always said I'm never going to coach anybody. I'm not going to help you. I'm just going to do my thing, go home. And my attention for the last month has been strictly for her. I've helped her. Like I've other people out of my sparring rounds are like, no, 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 I'm just gonna work with her. And just from like 3 weeks, this girl turned into like an amateur wrestler that makes me really have to have plan A, B, C, D, and E ready to go.
I love it. I love it. That
And
is
me and
awesome.
her did, not, she wants to do Muay Thai. That's a hard path. I'm not taking any more fight.
Yeah, you don't need to take any more blows to the head. Me neither, you know?
It, it was fun while it lasted.
Yes, exactly.
I don't regret it, but I have no desire to get in there and do it again. People just don't realize how much just a jab to the head and a headache can really spike up a depression.
Yeah. And not to mention the brain damage. If
Yeah, I'm
you get
already slow already. No one would know
my
the
age,
difference.
man, it starts to affect you. Like, I don't remember your name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the last fight I had 5 years ago, it took me 6 months to fully get my memory back. But after I got they say knocked out, they rolled it a knockout, but I was still conscious. Um, we're walking back to the locker room, and I call my ex-wife, and she's laughing. I'm like, "What is wrong with you, dude? Like, I just got knocked out." She goes, "This is the third time you've called me, and I'm literally in the third row."
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
oh, all right. And then me and her are walking back to the car, and I've asked her, "Hey, why?" I kept telling her, "Why are we leaving? I still have to fight."
Oh no.
Like, and the joke is, and the commission didn't send you to the hospital. They just sent me home. I'm like, all right.
Well, good choice for not doing Muay Thai anymore.
I love.
What is one last thing that you'd like to share with everybody that could be struggling either with mental illness or with addiction? Like what's one piece of advice or something that you could share that, could kind of help somebody get in and get the help that they need?
Don't don't be afraid to ask for help. And if you feel embarrassed, guess what? It's normal to feel embarrassed. I'm 30 and I still feel embarrassed when I ask for help.
Yeah.
There's people that are going to be in their 50s or in their teens or even like 8 or 9 that battle. Okay to not be okay. It's not okay not to talk. And I'm still learning that process. I'm still learning what it's like to reach out for help and try to ask people if they have a minute to talk. Because the second I send that text, I say, "Hey, are you down to talk?" and they respond back, I quickly just go, "You know what? Never mind, I'm good. Just forget about it." So you just have to make that first step because nobody wants to call your phone and have you not pick it up.
Yeah.
Not it's not a fun feeling.
No.
Not a fun feeling wondering if the person that you just spoke to or the person you just hugged or the person you just worked with is going to be coming back.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things for me. Like I shut people out all the time. I still do it, and I probably still always do it. But to the people that are in my circle, whether it's everyone at Jay Pages or my buddy Andrew's garage that we roll in, or at our other gym at Ethos, those people know that if I tell you I'm okay, yeah, I'm lying. It's
Yeah.
just if someone asks you if you're fine or how you're doing and you say I'm okay, that's a lie. And people just need to stop lying to themselves.
Yeah.
Because if I can do it, if I can wake up every morning and lie to myself every day, but yet still go to work, go to camp, spend time with my parents, guess what? So can you. And there's really no excuse. But
I love it.
oh, like if I always tell people, if you ever need anyone to talk to, feel free to hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on Instagram. I'm really not hard to get a hold of.
Yeah.
You can find me, you can talk to me. I won't push you away. You don't even have to tell me what's going on. If you just need someone to listen to, just send me a message. I'll send you my number. We can text, we can talk. My goal is if I can save just one person, then I feel like I've done something.
Yep.
Clearly I haven't done much to really be proud of, in my opinion. But I feel like if I were to just to have someone reach out to me and know that, they can talk to me. It's cool. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna judge you. You're
And
talking
I
to a guy
think that
that,
you have. I think you have saved lives. I mean, I know that you've reached out to people and I know that you've been that support for people. So,
yeah, that's just all people like us need because we struggle with life a little harder than most people think. Our struggle, a normal person's struggle can end in with just a good night's sleep or a good conversation.
yeah.
Our struggle can end in death, and that's what people just don't understand.
Have you ever used the suicide talk line, 1
And
800
oh, I use it all the time, and I always promote it. On one of my rash guards, I actually have it. I'm getting it actually put on my rash guard and my gi.
Okay.
There's an organization called Change Direction. I got introduced to it by Chris Stapleton.
Uh-huh.
It helps educate people on suicide awareness, and it's one of the greatest organizations that I had the privilege of being a part of. And every time I compete, I always put their T-shirt on or throw a patch on a gi or on my rash guard.
I
People
love
just there's options everywhere for you. You
love
just
that.
have to you just have to want it.
Yep.
You
So,
want you're gonna want to live. 'Cause people like us, we don't want to die. We just want our suffering to end. 'Cause the pain we live in on a daily basis isn't something that's easy to describe or easy to talk about. But yet, one of the other reasons why we don't talk about it or go to therapy for, because therapists are known to drug all of us up, and we don't want like I don't know about others. I can't speak on others, but for me, I just want someone to listen. Listen, don't talk. Just let me get it out, and then I'll go on my way.
yeah.
Usually, when I do therapy, it's usually right around the fifth or sixth session where they want to drug me up, and that's when I split. The therapist just won't do it. I'm like, keep talking.
So tell me if this number's right. This is the right one, correct? 800-273-8255.
Let's take a
800-273-TALK. And that's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
Yeah, 1-800-273-8255 is the suicide hotline. Someone's always available to listen, and someone's always available to talk.
Excellent.
If I still call it at the age of 30 when I really have a lot more people I could be calling, there's no excuse. I can do it, so can you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, David. I want to tell you just I appreciate you and I'm just so proud of you. So thank you for doing this.
I know you keep an eye on me even if you don't say anything. I
I
know
do.
there's
You know I do.